Went to the Oscars, was on the stage. They said my name. Steve Carell was like Steve Carell, and I love Steve Carell. He sat right in front of me, he's smiling, clapping. Oprah stood up on the side. I met Oprah in the back. Well, I met everybody, but like Oprah, I pulled her to the side, like, "Yo, hey, we're gonna work together. I just want to let you know, my name is Patrick, this and that." And I think like the next year, I did a show that she did. The next year.
Welcome back to another episode of the Fodé Fireside Chats. Name subject to change because honestly, I just made that up on the fly and it was okay at the time, and I'm not sure I'm a fan of it anymore. But we have our guest, Patrick Walker, woo, 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 and we have our guest host, Mark Donor.
Welcome into his podcast.
How weird does it feel sitting over there?
It feels good. A lot less pressure. I don't have to be as involved in the conversation. I don't have to ask you shit.
Nice.
I'm gonna see how Pearson is as a host.
It's gonna be fascinating. The pressure is on. But Patrick and I met doing a movie. Was it 5 years ago? 6 years ago now?
What?
It's time.
Oh shoot.
Yeah.
Wait, was it?
I think it was 5 years ago.
I think like 4.
Met a few years back on a movie that was supposed to come out 3 days before COVID hit.
Really?
Yeah, they were having the premiere in Tennessee. No, was it? Where's
Mississippi.
Ole Miss?
Mississippi.
And
Ole Miss is not in Mississippi.
Where's Ole Miss? It's in Tennessee, right?
It's Ole Miss.
Is it in Mississippi?
Mississippi.
Is it really?
Yes.
Bro, we did a movie here. We didn't even know where it was.
We shot it. Bro. It's a great movie, though. Great movie.
He plays Creek. It's based on a true story of a football accident that happened back in 1989 between two players, Brad Gaines, Chucky Mullins, Ole Miss versus Vanderbilt. My character, Brad Gaines, was on the 3-yard line in the air for a touchdown, essentially. And Chucky Mullins comes up right behind him, hits him square in the back, and inadvertently breaks his own neck. Patrick played one of the quintessential players on the team, Creek.
Yes.
Tell us about him a little bit.
Let's see. 4 years ago.
Come on, let's pull on those deep actor roots you got there.
So one thing about him that was unique that I found was that he was the guy who was the most aggressive of the group in real life. He was the defense. Most of the players in the movie were all sideline players. They weren't starters, and Creek was really the only starter.
Yeah.
Even Chucky, I don't think he was a starter.
No, he was. Yeah. What was he? Nickelback? No. What do they call that?
Yeah, but he would just come in whenever necessary.
Look at this photograph.
Yeah, coming from the guy that never played football, but I got paid to play in a football movie.
What position was he? Nickelback?
No, there was something for. There was
no, he was a Nickelback. Yeah.
Okay. Yes, I was right.
Yeah, he was a Nickelback. Yeah. But my character was the one that was a starter on the team, and he had the roughest life amongst all the group as well.
What was like Creek's backstory? What did you find out when you're actually looking up the real Creek? That was fascinating to you.
What was fascinating is that Creek was the only guy. Chris Mitchell was the only guy of all the other guys who didn't come to set.
Oh,
every other character came to set except for Chris. I know that he was in prison for a while. He got out. I know he was just dealing with a lot. And even from where, like, during the point of the movie, I got a chance to talk to him on the phone. And then at that moment, he was going through a lot. And I felt that the character felt heavy, but like, as much as he wasn't around during filming, and as much as I didn't hear much about him, except for like stories of him doing wild things during school, I think that's what I drew on most of the time. That he was just in his own world, in his own lane, kind of like the bad guy of the group in my eyes.
What? I was gonna say, Adelia, don't use the bathroom.
Don't use the bathroom, Adelia. Sorry for being interrupted. It's clogged.
Is there a deuce in it?
There's probably a giant dookie just holding up the entire toilet in there.
Good. Be careful, Adelia.
Adelia, come say hi on the podcast really quick. This is very informal. No, it's too late. Never mind. She doesn't get to say hi anymore.
Lost your chance. We got to get back to the conversation. When you shoot a movie like that, do you have to buy the rights? You lost your chance.
Oh, she's back. This is Adelia for everybody that's watching my podcast for the first time.
That's a dope jacket.
It's a dope jacket.
That is amazing.
Ashes to ashes, dust to dust.
It's civil regime.
Oh, I like that. Now get out of here and quit trying to plug that brand. They're not paying us.
That was good.
What was your question, Mark?
When you shoot a movie like that, like a Remember the Titans type thing, or We Are Marshall, your guys' was it what? It's Time.
Yeah.
Do you have to buy the rights from the people's lives it's about? So like, did those guys get paid?
It depends on whose story it's told from. So Brad Gaines, the character that I played, he was the executive producer. Technically, he owned his own life rights. So he was the one, but he communicated with all the other players inside of the movie, for the most part that I know of. I don't really know what it looked like behind the scenes. And he put their names and their likeness in the movie. So, but also most of the players actually from the hit came and were in the movie.
Yeah, even the coach.
Yeah.
The coach was the real coach came too.
That was crazy too, because just before we filmed with the original coach that was there, and he was like beloved at Ole Miss.
Yeah.
And-
Billy Brewer.
Yeah, Billy Brewer.
Yeah,
That's right.
yeah.
And he passed away shortly after. After we filmed. Yeah.
Wow.
And so we have literally probably some of the last known footage of him in our movie, which is really incredible. I mean, when we were down there, it was incredible. Just the energy around us filming that story.
Yeah.
To the south.
Even people who would find out that we were doing that movie because there was nothing that filming in the city.
Yeah.
People found out like them coming up and buying our food and different things like that. Like, that was crazy. That people loved Chucky, and that they loved that story so much that it made them buy us food.
Yeah.
You know?
Since did you ever get a chance to talk to Creek one-on-one?
Not besides on the phone. On the phone, there was one phone call I had, and that was
How was that?
brief,
Really?
very brief.
Why do you think it was so brief?
I have no idea.
Really?
I think I'm pretty sure when we called him, I think he was busy or something. But I didn't talk to him long at all. And I remember I felt bad about it because I saw everybody else's real guy, and it was like, oh, it's like Father and Sunday, like, you know, like you got the guy playing you, and you guys are there, and I'm like, cool, you know. But I mean, it was cool. I did my job.
It was fascinating for me to watch you play Creek, because I think for me it was one of the first times that I saw somebody take a character and intentionally really, really put in a very emotional arc to your character. And I respected the hell out of that, because Brad Gaines in the movie had a very big arc, and so did Chucky. But because it was told from Brad's POV, I structured it a certain way. But you played it in a way where by the time I was coming to terms with all the things that had happened in my life, you and I hadn't become friends at that point.
Exactly.
And it was fascinating. I remember the time it was coming towards the end of the movie. I won't give away any spoilers, but we're supposed to go in and be a part of the team. And then Pat didn't extend his hand to shake my hand at this moment. And I was like, I remember like after the scene, I was like, man, Pat was just a dick in that scene. And then I was like, oh, fuck, that was a great choice.
Yeah.
You're literally the only person in that shot that made the choice not to shake my hand, which said a lot about the relationship.
Because it didn't make sense. Even to not give away the movie, it doesn't make sense for a guy to kill your teammate, one of your friends, on accident, even though it was on accident.
Right.
And for it to be written in a script to say, hey, everyone else goes and shakes his hand, saying, hey, come on the bus, we're going to go out to this funeral together.
Yeah.
Fuck no.
Yeah.
Like that makes, and then in real life, I ended up finding out that Chris never liked Brad in real life. So and then afterwards he was like that he would never come and shake my hand.
Yeah.
But the guy died?
Yeah.
Oh, Chuck,
He didn't get paralyzed? He died?
No, he was paralyzed, and then he ended up dying later on.
Oh, wow.
He died after a few years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He survived, and I mean, this isn't giving away anything that you can't readily go Google. But he was paralyzed for a year and a few months, and then died of I believe it was a blood clot to the brain after a heat stroke of sorts.
And your character is the reason he got paralyzed?
Yeah, more or less. I mean,
you were on the other team?
It was a fluke accident. Yeah. So
why'd you go to his funeral?
So Brad.
Oh, they developed a relationship after.
Yeah.
Got it.
Yeah.
They were. I mean, Brad was like the star fullback of Vanderbilt. All of his brothers were NFL recruited players. And so he was like one of the it guys to go and destroy when you're going up team for team. And Chucky was this younger, lighter guy who like didn't have a whole lot of weight to him, not a lot of meat on his bones, and had to prove his worth on the field. And so he was like, I'm going to go take out that guy. Right?
So why would Chucky in real life, the guy that got paralyzed, forgive Brad Gaines, but you wouldn't?
Well, I think that's just that was just the kind of person that he is.
Yeah.
That he like. because the reality is that he jumps up for the ball, Chucky comes and hits him from the back. So essentially, it's Chucky's. He does it. He hits the guy.
Yeah.
And then, I mean, unfortunately, that happens. And I think that in the overall scope of things, even in the idea of where the world was at that moment, that I don't think that that it is that the white savior is going to come to this funeral for my friend that I knew, that I cared for, that I loved, that he can come to a funeral for the guy that he took from me. You know what I'm saying? Like that, like even in the moment, I didn't feel like it was the most authentic to play that. And then to find out that was the truth of the moment was that it wasn't. Yeah. So I feel like somebody has to be the guy that says like, that's like, nah.
Right.
If something accidentally
too much unison, that's not real.
Something accidentally happened to Pearson right now, and somebody did something to him, I'm outside their door tomorrow, and I'm outside the door the next day. That's because that's the guy I am. You know, like.
Why do you think that is? Why do you think that some people are so easy to forgive, like the killer of like in a murder sense or whatever? Why are so many people willing to forgive and others will never give?
That's a great question. Well, I think it all depends on what you believe in. I think even for me, I'm easy to forgive, but not to certain extents. I'll still forgive overall, but I think it all depends on what you personally believe in. Like to believe in Christ is to forgive, because like that's all he said was like, hey, like love people and like forgive people, because like you want them to forgive you if you do something crazy. But I know some people who won't forgive nothing. If you do something wrong by them, that guy's canceled. He doesn't exist. I don't see him ever again. And that's with women a lot too. Like women, women, when a guy does something like extremely bad, it is hard for them to forgive. Oh, he did that, never again. No.
I love the woman scenario. It's like, I mean, this is a terrible example, but they bring. I mean, I'm generalizing.
Generalizing prick.
Yeah, not everyone, but it's always funny. It even happens with guys. You have a conversation with, they're like, well, remember when 3 months ago when you did this? And it's like,
but we already talked about it. I thought we squashed that.
Yeah.
It's a fascinating thing.
Yeah, very fascinating.
What do you think? I mean, because this movie, I think, would have been perfect for so much stuff that's happening right now.
Oh my gosh.
Right? Like the story about like how this accident literally healed so many people and so many relationships in the South. What do you think? I mean, obviously, what do you think of what's happening right now, and what are some of the takeaways that we could have learned from the movie that could be applied right now? Because this is a story about a white dude and a black dude in the South, where it was not cool to do any of this stuff, where there weren't peaceful protests and things like that. So I think this conversation is important for how we handle things today as a younger generation, learning from our history.
Think the main thing people could take from the movie would be the idea of forgiveness. You know, like the fact that like the guy who was hurt forgave the guy they were tied together by one moment in a sport that they both loved so dearly, and that I think if humans can understand the concept of that, we're all here. And like just like on the football field, like those two guys were equal. You know, like we're players, just like, you know, like we're equal. Yeah. And that like I just think it's a unique concept that what our great grandparents or great grandparents may have done or may have been a part of, like that's not who we are now. And I feel like that's something that should be remembered or thought about from everyone's point of view. That even though I feel like honestly the black experience, like if we start from here. And that's something like my mom, grandma, everyone taught, like, hey, you got to work harder than everybody else. Primarily, no offense, like Caucasian people, because like they have this, and they're here, you're here. You got to catch up, and even to catch up, you have to do more to even meet them, to be at a common place. So I feel like if everybody just had an understanding of where everybody else, a little bit of understanding of where everybody else sits from, then we could find a way to be together, you know, just with understanding. And then if like I saw a video online with this girl, like a girl was like going off on her dad about like, he was like, she was telling him about like all these black facts and like black people's lives and stuff. And she's fighting with her father, who was like going against what she was saying. But like, it is that younger generation that has, who's open to learn and, to change things, you know. So but I think the movie just like the forgive, like that, the idea that they became such good friends, and And it was, I mean, in the movie, it's so, even in the scene, I don't want to go through the scenes.
No, say it.
And there's a scene with you guys where you go, because you're going to the hospital like even the fact that he cleans off the dude's his grave, and this could be found online, I think, but that he cleans off his grave every Christmas or something like that.
Yeah,
like
every Christmas. So he goes during the eve of the anniversary, the death, and every Christmas, because nobody should be alone on Christmas. And Brad cleans off Chucky's grave.
Like just simple principles like that. I think that if everyone could take that, it's so hard to explain. It's so hard to like walk a line, you know. You don't want to say the wrong thing.
Yeah.
But equality and understanding.
Don't you hate that you
one.
have to watch what you say?
Oh. I mean,
truthfully,
for real.
That's the truth. That's the truth. Yeah.
Because we don't know what's going to happen in 5 years from now. Any part of this conversation could be like blown out of proportion.
Yeah, and I love women, and I love women, men, everyone, and everything.
It's true.
Right.
Well, Pat, I mean, give the audience a little bit more context about like where you came from. So, because you have a very deep understanding of so much of what you're talking about. Mm-hmm. You grew up in Florida.
Yes.
Tell us about your childhood.
Childhood, I would say, I grew up with two great parents. Mm-hmm. My dad left when I was young, and then he eventually moved to Atlanta. So then my stepfather came in, and I was primarily raised by my mom, stepfather, and then my dad. I would go see him during the summers. But we didn't live in the nicest area. It would be the hood. And even we were speaking about earlier, like police brutality. I do not have a good relationship with police, 0%. And that's just me. And I think there are great police officers, but just with Patrick, I've never.
With Patrick.
Just with Patrick. It is always just a challenging interaction.
For example,
what was your first interaction?
For example,
with police like
first interaction. There was a video online even recently that people would say is so sad, but it's the truth. It was this little boy playing basketball in his driveway, and then there's a police coming down the street, and then he hides behind the truck, and then the police goes by, and he goes back to just shooting basketball.
Oh wow!
But it's because in his brain he knows that like I don't even want him to see me. In my neighborhood, we could be playing football in the street. Somebody could say 12, 12, 12, and then everybody would go and like hide behind bushes because 12 being the police would be coming, and we just needed to hide. Though Patrick has never done a drug, I never smoked, drank, nothing, never stolen anything, nothing like that. I have the fear of when a cop at a young age when a cop will come by. My little brother was outside playing football once, playing basketball, and a cop came, put my brother in handcuffs, and put him in a car because he thought it was somebody else. Crazy. I'm going off on a cop. I'm like 15, and my brother's in the cop car, and then the police goes up this hill with my brother. I'm running. I go in the house to get my grandma out the house. The police got my brother. They go around the block and end up letting him back out because I think they, like, and the real guy ends up coming out of like some bushes or something. I end up seeing him, but like he has my brother. It's just moments like, and I work. Here's another. I got so many stories like me. I was working. This is a cool story. I was working a regular job, right? So I was wearing a black hoodie because I worked in a warehouse, and it was lunch on my lunch break. My dad was my boss. Excuse me. So I'm walking. I go to a Publix, which is like which would be like a Ralph's or whatever. Yeah. So I go into a Publix, and these cops stop me and say like, "Hey," and start asking me different questions like, "Hey," like basically saying I couldn't go anywhere because I looked like someone who fit the description of someone they were looking for. And I was like, fit what description? So I had to sit there during my lunch break with these cops and couldn't go anywhere. And I'm standing in front of a Publix, like in front of like the opening doors of this grocery store. And my boss, like my dad's boss, ends up walking by. And I said, "Hey Brett, hey, could you let these guys know that I just was at work?" And he's like, "Yeah, like guys, what's going on?" And they're like, "He fits the description of somebody else." And then he had to describe, like say that, hey, he was just at work. So it took this white man to come and say, "Hey, this guy was at work," for them to say, "All right, cool, you're good." But I sat there and like missed my whole lunch break. I come back to work, I'm upset, my dad's upset. But it's just like, it's crazy. And there's so many more stories, like, and it's just on and on and on where like, I don't get the benefit of the doubt from a police officer. It's a little different now because I know, hey, I'm on TV. Like I can't cut up with a cop because, you know, anything could happen. Even when I was, there's a story, I'm with an actress and I got pulled over by a cop for not having a front license plate, which I just moved to LA. So in the South, you don't need a front license plate. So I didn't know it. I thought it was just a spare plate. So the plate is sitting in my back seat, like, you know, for like, I think like 3 months. And I didn't know you needed a front plate because like Range Rovers and Rolls Royces don't have front plates.
Yeah.
So I'm like, oh, maybe it's just people just like to do it.
Which I've gotten tickets for. Sorry.
Yeah. So even like do you have a back plate?
Yeah, I got a back plate.
Yeah,
but I don't have a front plate. But every time I get like a parking ticket, they also write me a ticket for not having a front plate.
Yeah.
That's so
And there's no place to put the fucking plate.
Yeah, and it's like you just need us to
Drill it into my car.
Crazy. No.
That's awful.
Yeah. So so they pulled me over for that. Like I mean, the cop swerves in and pulls me over, and it was like so dramatic. Pops the light out because he was in front of me. So like where this camera is, he could see me from across the way. He pulls me over. And then like comes and tells me to get out of the car. And I'm like, why get out of the car? Why do I have to get out of the car?
Calm down, bro.
Makes me get out of the car. I had no shoes on, like I have no shoes on now.
Also, Patrick is not wearing any shoes.
I don't wear
I literally
shoes.
asked him, I go, I put on shoes because I have holes in my socks. He's like, nah, this is my thing.
Yeah,
Sacred ground.
Holy ground. Even acting class, I don't wear shoes.
Yeah.
Because I got to feel the ground.
I like that.
But yeah, so he made me get out of the car. I didn't have shoes on. And the girl got out. She was recording a video. And I had to go stand on like a wall. Like facing a wall while I'm talking to one cop, and then the other one's just like going through the car, like, "Hey, you got your license?" I'm like, "You want me to come get it for you?" No. Well, it's in behind my phone, so he has to go to my phone, open my phone up, and by that point, I don't want anybody going through my car because I don't want anybody planting nothing in my car.
Right.
But I've never, like I said, I've never done anything. In
Also,
car.
don't they need a warrant to look through your car?
Yeah, it's
Technically, yeah.
Also, why were you put up against the wall for a fucking no front license plate?
Right. That doesn't make any sense at all.
It was a lot. It was a lot. So, and she was so scared. She was really great, really amazing actress, really great girl. She was extremely like terrified. And she's Indian. She was really nervous about it. She recorded a video, and she felt so bad. I feel like even when we left, we went to like an ice cream place, and I remember telling her, this is no offense to anybody, that like I was the only black guy in this ice cream place, and I was so furious because I was like, nobody in this place will ever have to feel what I just felt.
Yeah.
And this girl next to me is like looking at me like rubbing my back, like because she feels that because she can see like how I feel, and I'm like, because she knows that like that feeling that I feel, half the world will never feel. They'll never feel that feeling that I felt like. Nigga, I'm to be on TV to feel it, to have $0 to feel it, to be in the hood to feel like since I was a kid, I feel the same thing. Even now, last year. So it's like I think that's the thing with police for me. That's kind of why I want to be not even famous, but like why I want people to know who I am.
Yeah.
So you don't have to ask me who I am. You can look at my face. Oh, that's the guy from. Oh, this is the guy from like people freak out. This is the guy from The Resident. Oh, hey, let's do this. Let's take a picture. But like if a cop was like, hey, you're the guy from this. Yeah, I am. Can I get the warning?
Yeah.
Cool, my man. Thank you so much. Have a good day.
Yeah, for real. I remember you telling me a story on set where like when you're at home, if you heard like a tire pop, you'd still hit the floor.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
Yeah.
I told you that?
Yeah, you told me about
Crazy.
that. So describe for people that don't understand what that means. What does that mean to them?
So when I grew up, right, if there was gunshots in the neighborhood. So what my mom would do was we would hear a gunshot and my mom would say like, get down, get down. She would make us all get to the floor, and we would sit on the floor for a few minutes. I mean, maybe not a few minutes, but maybe like a minute, and then get back up and then live life like it was normal. Even to the point where they're blowing these fireworks every day out in it. Like, I don't even know if this is like a thing here, but people just pop, pop, pop these fireworks. The other day, me and my roommate were in the house last week, and there was this huge one, boom. And I pop up out of bed, I run, and then like my roommate comes out of his room. We're all have similar backgrounds, like me and my roommates. So I run, and I'm looking for one of my roommates. I'm like, Jock. I run outside, I'm running down the stairs. I go to the street, I'm looking for him, I'm calling his name. Cause like in my mind, something bad has happened because I heard a pop. And I can't see Jock, and Jock is 6'6". So I'm running through, and I'm outside, I'm looking for Jock, I'm screaming his name. My roommate Travis comes out walking slowly, and then we go back upstairs, and then I heard Pete up. I'm like, and it was Jock's voice. I'm like, Jock? He's like, yeah, I was on the toilet in the house. I was on the toilet, and you didn't hear me calling your name. I was like, nah, I didn't hear you. But but like that was my first thought, was that something was wrong, and then I'm running, and my roommate was like that he thought something bad had happened, so he walked slow. Because he didn't want to get to anything that was traumatic too fast. Yeah.
Isn't it interesting, like, how you think it's gunshots, and when I hear stuff like that, it's like, oh, someone's lighting off fireworks. Yeah. You know, I'm just like the way, like, the neighborhood you were raised in versus where I was raised. Yeah. It's an interesting perspective.
Yeah. But I think it works, though. I mean, I think in some there was this, so many stories, but there was this story, I think maybe like 3-4 years ago, but a few friends of mine are like at one of this dude's house, and there was a real like gunshot outside the door, like some dude.
How do you tell, by the way? Because I feel like were you there when there was a shooting downtown Los Angeles? That was the first time I've ever experienced a shooting. You were there. Tyler was there. First time I've ever experienced a shooting.
Mm-hmm.
I thought first off it was fireworks.
Oh, crazy.
But then we like, I couldn't tell, bro.
Mm-hmm.
Is there a way to tell?
Honestly, I think you just have to hear it. Because I grew up on a farm, so I know the difference between the tire popping on a tractor or a pickup versus we're out shooting coyotes at night that are trying to keep our like animals safe.
Yeah.
But I don't know. What is it to you? What's the distinguishing factor?
Or is there none?
I don't think there is one. I think I'm getting used to the fireworks, like because I've been in LA for 2.5 years, so I'm used to that now. But it's hard to tell sometimes because some of them are so close that it feels like it's like bah, and you're like that's not it. But if it's far, you're like okay, or that's just shooting far away. Even in my neighborhood, I'll be like, oh, they're shooting far away, so it's not a big deal.
Yeah.
Which that's crazy because it's a big deal that somebody's shooting a gun far away because they didn't shoot fireworks for no reason in Jacksonville,
Right.
But it's hard. When it's close, you can't. I don't think you can do
When it comes to the police, isn't it interesting? I always think about this. Like, what's the slogan? Protect and serve. Do you ever hear someone say like a great story about a police officer?
Very
like,
rarely.
yo, dude, this fucking cop saved my life, bro. Like, you're not gonna believe this.
Yeah.
like,
protected me, bro.
Bro,
This cop came. Oh shit, my phone. He fucking came over and he helped me put my groceries in my car.
Yeah.
What a nice dude.
like, granted, there are good stories. Like,
yeah.
But even me as a kid, I fear police too because getting pulled over, it's like your fucking adrenaline's going. You're like,
It's
fuck,
going.
man, I'm in so much trouble.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
you feel a different way, obviously.
Yeah.
But it's like, I've had never a good encounter with police either. Like getting busted at a party in high school. It's like you fear. As a society, everyone I think fears the police from day one.
I feel like it went from. I think there was like an era of time where there was kind of like a cool respect for officers, maybe. But maybe from your experience, maybe not. Maybe I'm just thinking of something that I've never personally experienced, but I've seen it in a movie and it looked cool. But at the same time, I never, and to be fair, you guys relax. I do have friends and family that are in law enforcement. Chill.
I don't.
There's good people and there's bad people everywhere. It doesn't matter
in
what
every job.
Every job.
Except vlogging. There's great people everywhere.
They're just all the best. Except that Mark Donor guy.
Yeah.
Goddamn. No, I think it's fascinating. Yeah. To your point, I can't think of like outside of the ones that we see on Instagram and TikTok.
Yeah, the viral ones.
Oh, wow.
But like,
That's a great point.
Yeah, I don't know of a time where I've been pulled over or like, well,
like when you said the basketball story about the cop, I was thinking I saw also a basketball story where the cop brought Shaquille O'Neal and the whole like law enforcement played basketball with a group of kids. That's what I thought you were going to talk about.
Oh, no.
So,
Oh
no.
I think
that story came out like this video came out like last week, and I was so
okay.
I was like, wow,
That's sad.
the reality, and just a kid doing that. It was crazy.
What do you think about like we've got the Black Lives Matter movement happening right now, and it's been very divisive with a lot of cops saying Blue Lives Matter as well. What's your take on like how do we branch these two very opposing sides, and how do we help people forgive and heal, or do we? Is there a process that we can do that in?
So a friend of mine has been educating me on like the defunding of police lately, because it's hard for me to and as creative as I am, it's hard for me to imagine a world without police.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, who are you going to call? Ghostbusters?
Exactly. Yeah, that's been my thing. Like,
Yeah.
who would you call or whatever? And she gave this perfect example. And she said that she sent me like I saw a picture that she posted the next day, and it was saying that what would a black neighborhood look like if there was if the money was taken from police and put into the communities? It would look like a suburb.
Oh, interesting.
Like a suburb, like a regular white suburb, and it'd be normal where you have kids who have things to do instead of like my friends growing up. We like not even just me and my friends. Like we had nothing to do.
Yeah.
We would sit at the house. We sit on the stoop. We would play basketball outside. We would sit like out, and I never wore a shirt. I'm from Florida. Like I don't even wear shirts now. Like even when I drive, I don't wear shirts. or shoes.
Yeah.
But it was just a thing we did. We were always out. But because I had a good family and a good support system and a good belief system, I wasn't out doing the things that everybody else would do. So I spent my time doing other things where if you have just a bunch of, like we were saying, idle time. It's a devil's playground. Like you're gonna go and you might just go and rob or somebody or do whatever you may do. But if there was activities to do or there was like money like to this group, this community, like a lot of my friends are really good with like playing basketball and stuff. Like if you have somewhere to go and do that or things that you can do to be better. And like there was this thing that said that if you didn't throw the boys in jail so fast and you just like took them to rehab or you let them go to therapy or you let them learn about like what's going on or why does he do what he does or like why does he feel the need to do this over this. They say why is there a lot of teenage pregnancy like in black communities?
Yeah,
because they have nothing to do.
Yeah,
I'm gonna go out. I mean, it's gonna a boy and a girl. I'm gonna go in.
Yeah,
and then the babies are popping up because you have nothing to do. So I feel like with more money, then you can like build up a community where people can
find purpose.
Yeah, exactly. Purpose. And that was crazy when you mentioned it earlier, but that's what everybody needs. Everybody needs some sense of purpose, like that they have something to do at least. Like, hey, after school, I'm going to the after school program and I'm going to go over here and do this and do that and do this and that. But as far as like the unity between people, I feel like it literally takes just understanding. And it's hard for me because I don't know what it looks like for everybody to just get on the same page. But I feel like it takes a level of it's like being a boy from Florida, right? Who grew up in the hood, then to come and then start acting in Atlanta, and then to come to LA and then be with you guys, and hang in this dope house. Right. It's like I was like, it was such an emotional moment for me to come here the other day. I almost cried in front of you, being like I'm so proud because the reality is that like as I'm learning more about different things and I'm seeing my money come into my bank account, and I'm like, you know what, like. There's so much more that is attainable. Yeah. But like I had to move to do that. I had to like leave my comfort zone to go and do it. I feel like everybody has to like, well, primarily like, I mean, black people or even just young people that have to get up and just try things and go and do different things and be around different people to experience different things and say, hey, this is what this feels like. This is what this tastes like. This is this food, or this is this, like your mama made me eat the this little granola bar that she had after that, and I wasn't gonna eat it, but it's like, yo, try the granola bar. But I mean, it was great. If I was like, oh, I'm not gonna taste that because it looks funny, but then I have a new experience of tasting this granola bar. Totally.
Well, Mark and I talk about this all the time. Is like you can't grow unless you step outside of your comfort zone. Yeah. All that we do all the time is push each other beyond our comfort zones, which is why we make such a good team often. But I think, to that point as well is like, I think there's such an opportunity to try something that you've never tried before. Yeah. To experience the world in a different way, to go from what you went from and to come all the way here. Yeah. And your story, it's so much more powerful when you go back. Oh my and God. You teach people how to do that. I was listening. Do you listen to Joe Rogan's podcast at all?
Sometimes, but not much.
He just had Kevin Hart back on.
I saw Kevin Hart's first one.
Humble brag. I'm doing a movie with him in a few months. Nice. But yeah, I mean, like he was talking about, he made a really interesting point, and it still hasn't left my brain. He was like, you cannot have some dude from Chase National Bank come and teach the family of kids that I grew up with in my neighborhood about how to handle their finances. You have to have me come back, a young black dude that made it, and I have to be able to teach my friends and family and show them how I did it. Because he's like, because I'm real. Mm-hmm. This dude from Chase Bank is some paper pusher that doesn't understand what the experience is that I had. Mm-hmm. Do you feel any connection to that?
How else would they get it? Yeah. Unless they saw someone who came from the same place as them, who has the same. I feel like everybody has somebody that they can look to. Like I was thinking about this in the car today, Kim Kardashian, right? Yeah. I was thinking about how many followers she has, and I was like, you know what? And she's Armenian, right? Yeah. I mean, I was like, yo, every Armenian must feel like a sense of like pride when they know that Kim Kardashian is the most famous woman on the earth. Yeah. That it's like, that is our girl. Like she is the most, like Barack Obama to black people. Like that's our boy. Like this sense of, and I feel like it takes that, that going back to bring people, like when I go back home, when I go to Atlanta, it is like the city where like people aren't afraid to say like, oh, you the boy from this, you the boy from that. They go crazy. Like there's like this everywhere. There's like this love. And even when I go back home, it is like, oh, it reminds me of, I don't even mean to get too preachy, but Jesus, there's this, Jesus goes home in the Bible and it talks about how he couldn't even do anything in his own region.
Yeah.
Because people they're like, oh, that's just Joseph's boy.
Yeah.
So he wasn't able to do anything because
Yeah.
he went there. He said there wasn't many miracles that happened because like they didn't
didn't
Joseph's kid.
Yeah.
So I feel like it can also be seen sometimes in that way. But if people are open to learn, then they're going to hear it more from me than they would from the guy from Chase Bank.
Right.
Like, they would hear it from you.
They'd hear from me.
Because you're the cool white boy.
Hey, thanks, bro.
Yeah, you're the cool white boy. Yeah, they would hear people who like they feel like could relate to what's happening or
Yeah.
like give it to them real. Like
Yeah.
the stocks we were talking about.
Right.
Like I'm like I don't want to hear all the this and that. Like, all right, what did you do?
Yeah.
Okay, this is what you did. Give me the breakdown of what you did, what I should think about doing, and then all right, cool. Tomorrow I'm going to go and do it.
Right.
Because I can understand it from your point of view. You know.
Yeah, for
You know,
sure.
I think it comes down to someone that you know or can relate to making things possible.
Yeah.
I think wherever you're from in the world, you're all raised to believe that you're not going to be more than what your parents were. Essentially, like I feel that way too. Like being raised in Ohio, I was like, okay, cool. I'm going to go to school, go to college, come back, live at home for a little bit, find a girl, maybe my high school sweetheart, start a family. That's my life. And until I moved to LA, until I traveled the world, I realized, wow, the way that I was raised was great. I loved it, but it wasn't the way that everyone was raised. And there's so many possibilities that I didn't know were possible because no one made me believe that I could be more than a boy from Ohio. You know what I'm saying?
That's dope.
I think that applies to a lot of people. It's like,
Yes.
we don't think things are possible unless someone we know or close to us does them.
Yeah.
You know, like I never thought I would be a YouTuber,
Right.
until I met a person that was,
Yeah.
and I was like, oh shit, this is how you do it. And it goes back to your Kevin Hart thing. It's like people need to hear from Kevin, someone who did it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Rather than the fucking guy that's paid from Chase Bank who's like, oh, here's how you give more money to the bank so we can make money.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. It's like Roger Bannister, the dude who ran the first 4-minute mile.
Yeah.
And then like
right.
then it's like right after him, other people started doing it, and like now it's like thousands of people have run that. But because he did it first, then everybody else was like, oh, okay,
It's possible.
It's possible. I can go and do it. Like my little brother, like he wants to be a YouTuber. He makes YouTube videos, and it's like that's a real thing for him. And it's like it's strange to some people as it sounds that he wants to do YouTube videos for a living. I'm like, bro, do it. Like,
you need people of encouragement too.
Yeah.
That's the biggest thing. Like people in your life, and you need to recognize the people in your life that don't want you to succeed and like not let their voice win in your head.
Exactly.
Because I saw a Gary Vee thing. It's like no one doesn't believe in themselves. They project the thoughts of other people on themselves. Like you don't just wake up and say you fucking hate yourself.
Right.
You hear someone else say like this sucks about you.
Yeah.
So then you hate that thing. Or you sit and compare your ass to Kim Kardashian's, and like that makes you hate your ass. You know, if you never saw Kim's ass.
I mean, Patrick does have a great ass.
Yeah.
To be fair.
That's true. That's true.
but you know what I'm saying? No one just wakes up and says, I hate this about myself
That's a
for
good
no
point.
reason.
That's
You know what I'm
right.
saying?
Yeah.
Like I hate my nose. I'm insecure about my nose. Would I be insecure about my nose if I didn't see Pearson's great nose?
Thanks, bro.
Yeah.
And I hate that I have brown eyes, but would I hate that I had brown eyes if I didn't see Pearson's beautiful blue eyes?
Beautiful blue oceans.
Might be.
Like I hate my smile, but if I didn't see Pearson,
I hate
what
my
I'm saying?
life, but if I didn't see Pearson's awesome life, then maybe I would. Fuck. Maybe I would.
God damn it.
but you know what I'm
That's a
saying?
good point, though.
Yeah.
That's a great point.
Comparison is a killer.
Comparison is the thief of joy.
Ooh. We should get that put on a plaque and
Nice.
copy.
I stole that from someone. I don't know who said
No,
it.
you
but
stole that from
We're doing-
Instagram.
I've always thought that.
Everything's on Instagram. Oh,
Yeah.
I'm going to write that one down.
Yeah, that's nice. Comparison is the thief of joy.
Quote it in the comments.
Marky.
What do you,
boy.
Mark? What do you feel like in your life was a big transitioning moment? Because again, you didn't have any examples in your immediate circle of people that you were like, man, my brother was the one who paved the way for YouTube, or my uncle was the one who paved the way for YouTube.
I think, obviously, I met Logan and was given an opportunity, and I didn't even think twice about moving to Los Angeles. My dad was very supportive because he wanted to start a business back in his day, and his dad wouldn't let him. So he said, I'm not going to let my kid, regret what I was not able to do.
Yeah.
So my brother Chris, he started a landscaping company. My dad bought him his first mower. He's like, yeah, he took him, go fucking mow grass. That's what you want to do. And now my brother's got a multi-million-dollar landscaping company. I wanted to start making YouTube videos. My dad, he's like, you better really want to do this. I said, I fucking want to do this. Bought me a camera for Christmas.
Nice.
And Pearson's now uses that camera, my first ever camera. But my dad invested in me and made me believe in myself. Not necessarily, at least try. He's like, you don't want to regret not ever trying. And then when I moved to LA, that was a really defining moment, being around people that left their nest and actually believed that they could achieve something greater than themselves. And I think surrounding yourself with people that do have that mindset is extremely important. Seeing people that are able to do it.
Yeah.
I think traveling the world too really opened my mind. I think, not talking shit about my family, but they've never left Ohio. Well, they've left Ohio to states, but they've never left the country.
Yeah.
They've never seen what life is like in Brazil, Morocco, Europe, I've been to all these places. I've been to South America. I've been down to Mexico. I've been to Belize, Canada, everywhere. And I've seen the different ways people live, and it really makes you realize that, like I said earlier, not everyone is like you. And it gives you an open mind rather than being so close-minded. And we believe everything we're told to believe in good faith from our parents, right? They try to lead us in the best direction. And until you start to think for yourself and really question things, then I don't think you can really grow into your own self.
So I have a question for you then. So what drives you to continue, after having so much success, going so many places, you guys work extremely hard. What makes you go, you know what? I'm going to wake up today, I'm going to come and do this podcast that Patrick's on today, and I'm going to do this and do this, and what makes you go just as hard as you did?
What I've learned, and Gary Vee says this a lot, I love the process. I hate days. We had that party the other day, and I told Pearson the next day, I was like, dude, that was fun, but I feel like shit because we didn't fucking do anything. We just partied.
Except we did so much.
Yeah.
With all that footage that you guys had too, right?
We woke up, we went for a ride, we did a photo shoot on the ride, we vlogged the ride, we had a party, we did it for Indian motorcycles, and then we came back and then we shot more footage.
Yeah.
And we got up the next day and did the same thing again.
But I didn't put out a video, so it felt like it was a wasted day for me.
So you put out a video every day?
3 times a week, and then I put a podcast out.
Nice.
But I love creating the videos. It's very hard for me. I fucking hate sitting around. Yeah, I hate not doing shit. Yeah, I hate sitting on my phone. I don't watch TV shows. I couldn't tell you. I watched one episode of Euphoria the other day, and it took me 3 hours to watch it because I watched 15 minutes of it, and then I went and did something, and then I came back. I'll never be happy with, going to work and coming home and watching Netflix. It's just not my life.
Yeah, I feel that.
And it's just I'm probably an extremely hard person to be friends with. It's cool that Pearson and I are similar. We would much rather wake up, do stocks, shoot videos, kick it with people than wake up
and drink and watch aimless shows without intention all day. You and I have a very shared experience of when we watch movies. It's we talked about this many times.
Sure.
This is our religion. This is sacred space. This is the time that we connect in a very spiritual way to story.
Yeah. It's class.
It is.
Yeah. Nothing against people that want to wake and bake. It's just you're not going to get to the next level in life if that's what
something
you
against
do.
Something against those people.
Oh yeah.
I mean,
I agree. I think
if you're sitting at home bitching oh, why does Mark have it? Why does Pearson have it? Why does Patrick have it? And I don't. Well, they're fucking making podcasts at 10 o'clock at night, and you're sitting watching them.
Yeah.
That's
dude,
true.
it's true. If you don't have the fucking grind, and this is what I tell people all the time, and this is my biggest pet peeve. We've talked about it on your podcast, but somebody said to me, "You've never had a hard day on your life." This was on a date. I literally was. I never got so angry on a first date in my entire fucking life, because I'm like, you literally don't know me. You have no idea what I've done or what I've been through or what it took for me to get to where I am. which isn't great compared to somebody like Tom Cruise, you know, Denzel Washington. You know, I still want to be at that level, but it's not enough. And then for you to delineate all the work that I've put in, all the sleepless nights and all the shit that I've gone through on the way, it makes me fucking angry. And I hate that shit because, like, for instance, most people won't know your journey until you talk about it, or your journey until you talk about it, but they only see the highlight reel on Instagram, YouTube, and social media, which is such a cheat because you've spent 5 years out here, but they've only seen a few days worth of footage comparatively. And same for you. You know, you've spent how many years of your life working at this day in and day out?
I'm going on 10 years. It's crazy.
10 years.
Well, the successful road too is also like a lonely road. Yeah. You lose a lot of people along the way because they can't either keep up with you, or their vision doesn't align with your vision, and that's totally fine.
They're not willing to put in the sacrifice. I called it being functionally homeless, but like a lot of people were like, well, what do you mean functionally homeless? I'm like, well, I had an option. I could either buy headshots or I could pay rent. That was my option. So I bought headshots so that way I could get my next job. And I slept in my car and I slept on couches and I showered at the gym. And I had a hot plate that I could cook on. It was great. Honestly, I imagined it was like camping to me. I was like, at least I got a roof, which is great. I think a lot of people don't understand what the work is like if you truly want it. You know, and for you guys watching, be willing to make those sacrifices, because there's a lot of people in a lot of high places that made those kinds of sacrifices on the way. It may not all look the same. You may not have to shower at the gym, but you can have these things too if you put in the fucking work. I mean, Pat's somebody that I like and I respect a lot as a friend and also as an artist. As like, I remember I always try to research my co-stars when we're doing a movie or a show together. And I looked at Pat's resume, and the first thing I saw was you're technically an Oscar nominee. Describe that to me. Like, Pat's put in a lot of work on a grind on so many levels, not just an actor, but as a producer, as a director. He loves cinema. Tell me about that journey.
So I think I went on when I first started, I knew that it wouldn't be given, and no one's going to put you on their show in the light that you feel like you should be put on. So that means if they don't put you on their show, then the world will never see it. So you have to create your own content. So I remember I created my own short film myself, and then I got with a friend, her name is Terry, and then we started shooting a bunch of different short films. And then I won like a few like small film festivals, and then did this Academy Awards. The producers had like this team Oscar competition where you submit like a 1-minute video on the best piece of advice you've ever gotten. And it was on like Facebook, so you could upload your video and see other videos that were like uploaded like as it went along. And I remember seeing like just the most simple, like, you know, like, hey, never give up, you know, really deep advice, but just very simple advice. And I remember the best advice I had gotten was like that I was my greatest enemy, that the greatest enemy we have is the enemy within, the enemy in a me. And that to this day, like, if I was to be destroyed, it will be because of my pride. And it's something I'm conscious of and I'm mindful of for myself, even as I get more things, like always trying to give back, and because I know that I don't want to get too big headed, that I cause my own self-destruction. But shot this cool video. It was a lot of serendipitous moments about shooting it. I had like, there was this apartment I passed by, and I told Terry like, yo, I want to shoot it at this broke down apartment. I pick her up, we go to this apartment. She's like, this is where I grew up. And I didn't even know it. So it was like this old, like broken down, like project in Atlanta. So we shot like the beginning shot there, and then we went to like this jail. And I think like the first like lines I see like, this is where people like me grow up, and this is where people like me end. And it was me in the jail. And then it was like, then they gave the advice, and then it was just showing like my acting career of like a bunch of independent projects. Like I was on like no TV shows at this point, but like all these like small indie projects that I had done. And then like, I think that it transitioned into jail from like me sitting on one side to like in like a black shirt, like some rusty white shirt to like a black shirt. And I got up and like walked out, and it said, and the Oscar goes to, as I walked down this jail cell, and it said like, and I said, see you at the Oscars at the end of it. And then like Channing Tatum and like the producers saw it, and it was the one that Channing liked the most. But I did it because I was like, you know what? If anybody feels it, Channing will feel this, because I felt like he had that like kind of rusty, rough background or whatever like that. And they liked it, and then I won, and then they flew me out to LA for the first time. Went to the Oscars, was on the stage. They said my name. Steve Carell was like Steve Carell, and I love Steve Carell. He's sitting right in front of me, he's smiling, clapping. Oprah stood up on the side. I met Oprah in the back. Well, I met everybody, but like Oprah, I pulled her to the side, like, yo, hey, we're gonna work together. I just want to let you know my name is Patrick, this and that. And I think like the next year I did a show that she did. The next year.
Whoa.
And she didn't even know it. Like I met her. I did the Immortal Life of Henrietta Lacks and met her again there at the table where she comes up and says, hey, it's good to see you again. And I was like a year or two later.
Oh, she remembered you.
Yeah. After I walked up to her and said like at the Oscars and said like, hey, how are you doing? I'm this and that, this and that, this and that, and pulled her like aside, like legit.
That's dope.
And then like walked to lunch with her. Crazy.
Whoa, dude. What was that like working with Oprah?
And we didn't even work together. We weren't even in the same scene, but she was just there that day.
Yeah.
And it was like she was the star of the movie, but I just think that moment of being remembered by her was a big deal for me because like I was like the class president in high school, and she was in my speech. It was like the last year of the Oprah show, and I like said like a quote from Oprah in my like class president speech to my like class, and like, yo, we out of here like Oprah, or whatever I said. But yeah, like I did the short film and it won that, and then that's what got me. Like I ended up booking like The Ring 3 was like my first movie, and then like after that point, it kind of started picking up. The people were like, "Oh, this dude's a good actor," and then after that, it just kind of like,
bro, you work all the time. I'm like at the movies. I go in to see Baby Driver, and I see Pat's face.
You're in Baby Driver?
just a quick pop in.
Bro, I was like watching. I go, Pat, what are you doing in this movie? How did I not know this?
Yeah.
But
it's been cool.
That's like, I think a lot of people think that someone's gonna discover them, and that's a perfect example of like going and doing it yourself and making someone notice you. Yeah. A lot of people think like, oh, I'm talented. Why aren't I successful? Because you're not putting in the fucking work.
Yeah.
You put in the work. You made people. You fucking told Oprah, hey, I'm gonna work with you one day.
Exactly.
You know, like not a lot of people have the balls that they don't believe in themselves like that.
Yeah.
Like I wouldn't go up to Oprah and say that. You know what I'm saying? But that's
for me. Because you get one life.
Dude,
right?
One chance.
One freaking life.
But you know what's fun? Like in Oprah's probably sitting there like, oh yeah, sure you will, and then you fucking did it, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like she probably hears that all the time.
Yeah.
Pat's got crazy follow through.
Yeah, it is. But it's great to even sit here and like remember those stories, because it's like even in living in LA for 2.5 years, and like having probably the most challenging year I've had. Probably before like COVID, it hasn't been as bad, because COVID has been enlightening for me, but to have such a challenging time since I've been here, being used to working so much and then booking the movie last year, the movie gets put on hold because of COVID, all this stuff happening, and it's like I feel like I'm right in this perfect spot of because everything starts over. I feel like like all these shows ended their seasons early, like all these movies, like the casting isn't done, so it's like this moment of like who's gonna get that shot at the front of the line. So like I'm like training like crazy now, like all right, cool, watching these movies, Daniel Day-Lewis writing all these notes, like making sure that it's like I am the undeniable. Yeah. Because that's the only thing if I'm undeniable, you can't stop me. But if I'm like if I'm off, then like you could be like, all right, cool, he looks better than you, so we'll put the pretty guy in. We'll put Pearson in. We'll put Pearson in. Are you good?
His beautiful blue eyes.
Yeah. But if I'm undeniable, then it's like there is no. You can't touch me if I'm on my P's and Q's. So,
dude, that's literally the saying. I mean, when Mark and I, before we moved in here, my whole goal behind like boosting my social media and doing everything that I'm doing right now is that I want to be the guy on set. I don't want to just be another actor when I show up. I want to be so good that I am undeniable. I want them to see me as not just an actor, but an empire, an entity of sorts that like, we have to put him in another project. Yeah. Like you have to be so good that they cannot deny you, that you are the only option when you show up. And I think that's such an important lesson for people to learn is like, a lot of people took COVID as an opportunity to either like chill out, which is, a lot of people did need to slow down. Yeah. But there's also a lot of us, I think in this room that we all took it as an opportunity to make ourselves better, refine the iron inside of ourselves and make ourselves stronger and find more resolve. Yeah. And become an anomaly of sorts, become beasts in our own way. Yeah. And I think that's awesome. I think that's something that like, I hope I take with me consistently everywhere that I go, and I try to. But how do you take moments like that, and rather than slowing down, what is the tools that you use to remind yourself to say, oh no, this is an opportunity, rather than a moment to take a break?
Oh, you mean like COVID?
Yeah.
What's the question?
When opportunities like this happen, let's say COVID isn't necessarily an opportunity. COVID was a disaster of sorts.
Definitely. Yeah.
I mean, it's still an opportunity.
A worldwide disaster.
Yeah.
You know, but at the same time, why did you make the choice to, rather than sit at home and do nothing, why did you make the choice to sit down and take notes on Daniel Day-Lewis's performances?
Because it's gonna end. Like it's gonna be over. I think like COVID it's lasted so long. I went to my mama's house for 3 weeks and sat with my mom for 3. I feel like no artist like of all the artists that I know, like this is the biggest chance we've all had to go home. Yeah. For 3 weeks with my mama and my daddy and them, and it was like, I bet it's time to go.
Yeah.
You know, like, oh, cool. All right, and then left. But then to come back and know that, like, the only thing I've been off with is the gym, obviously, which I'm glad it's back open. I'm gonna wait about another week and I'll go. But it is like that the reality that I know I wake up earlier than everybody else already, just naturally, because I have a lot of energy. So I wake up
Really?
earlier.
You have energy?
Yeah, I keep energy. But just to know that nobody's like to know that people are chilling makes me want to do more, or like sit and like have these meetings with my homies about like, okay, what are we shooting? Okay, I'm gonna go direct this thing. We're gonna do this, and then okay, let's write something. Unemployment. All right, cool. I got unemployment money. You got some unemployment money. All right, let's take some of that. Boom, boom. We're gonna take this unemployment money. We're gonna shoot this movie.
You invest
invest, and then just try to get it going, because everybody's sitting, like we were saying, everybody's sitting at home going crazy on the social media. So like, what can I give them to kind of be a part of the guys that give them something, instead of the ones that just sit and just consume it? Because I hate even when I can feel myself waking up in the morning going like this. Because I'm paying you. I'm paying you when I'm just sitting there just like this, and I'm like, I'm not getting no money. My friend had his thing that say, we were surfing the other day. He's like, it's all these professional surfers, and he's like, man, they ain't paying me. They ain't paying me to be here. And it's like the mindset of like, yo, they ain't paying me to scroll on this IG. I'm not getting paid for this. To scroll. So it's like, let me put it down, delete Instagram off my phone, like I did, delete all this stuff, so that way I can focus and then give them things that they can sit and be like, oh, there's Patrick, you know, instead of me being like eating everybody else's.
I mean, that's the key too, to like people that are getting unemployment. It's like, if you're just getting unemployment and you're like, oh, fuck yeah, dude, I got more money in my bank account than I ever, and you're not investing it back in yourself to make you more fucking money, then what's the point? Yeah. Because that money's just going to run out. It's going to run dry.
Ain't no point.
I invest dude, I spent more money last year than I made. Like, I invest in my business, whatever, at all costs, like my music, like that's how much I believe in myself. It's like,
you have to believe in yourself more than anyone else.
Dude. Like,
absolutely.
You have to take risks. And to be honest, like, dude, I'd never, like, going back to like when I moved out here, I never had a plan B. Yeah. Like, never did I think that I was going to fail. I think if you have a plan B, then you're already setting yourself up for failure. Yeah. You're like, oh, if it doesn't work out, I got this. Don't have this to go to, you know? Like, there's no option. It has to work out.
Wasn't it when the conquistadors went down to South America, they burned the ships, right? Don't have a plan B. You cannot have a backup plan if you want to conquer the country. And not that that's necessarily always a great example of like conquering other people, but the idea is the same, is that like when you eliminate the opportunity to turn around, you'll fucking get down and dirty and just grind that shit out until you've made it. That's the opportunity that we're all looking for. That's what we all have to find.
But it's also, this life, there's happy moments, but I don't know when I'll ever feel so like happy. Because I'm always wanting to do better than my last video. I'm always wanting to make a better song than my last song. You're always going to want a bigger movie than your last one. At what point are you going to sit back and like ever in life be like, I've achieved everything I wanted?
You know, actually, great point. I don't even think it's necessarily about the achieving for me. I think it's just like great advice this dude gave me when I like mind you, I had done nothing and then went to the Academy Awards. It is like literally this to like the top of it all. And it's what I realized that I didn't have a good midpoints because I was like, I don't get very depressed. I don't get depressed often. That's not a thing that, thank God, it doesn't happen to me. But his actor named Mark, who's like one of the most talented actors I know, said like, don't have your highs, like don't go super, super duper high. So that way when you come back down, like you won't crash super low. Cause like you're going up there, you're going to see all these people. And then it's like, then I came back home and had $0 again. And it was like, okay, what am I going to do? So it's like, now I find like the happiness in every day. Like this moment being here, I genuinely feel just happy. And this is like this feeling of happiness right now. It doesn't get it doesn't get better than this. I mean, cause I'm happy. I mean, I could be on a beach with Oprah. Yeah. And then, but sitting with her having a conversation, I'm going to be happy. But if it's going to feel like I'm sitting here with y'all and I'm happy. So like every day for myself, I'm like, okay, if I could just find a way to be happy, or like moments where I find myself doing this, which it doesn't, I mean, I feel myself like my eyebrows start to crunch up and I'm like, pardon me. I'd be like, nigga, relax your face. Like, relax your face. Like, chill. Even though I don't get angry often, but if I feel like somebody cut me off on the road, I'm like, and I'm like, yo, like.
But how do you find happiness in this?
Yeah.
Because that's an interesting thing. Like you said, you could be in the beach with Oprah, or, you know, a girl could hit you up and be like, yo, come through. Let's watch a movie. This and that. Like, I always talk about like being somewhere. It's an interesting thing when I used to hang out with people and they wouldn't make plans. They'd be like, oh, I'll let you know. I'll see if I'm free. You felt like you weren't valued. So like you coming here and being on the podcast, it's like you wanted to come do this. As opposed to going and doing something else. How do you find that happiness in work? Basically, I mean, this is my job. This is his job. You're a guest. I don't know if you would consider this work, but work versus, you know, a chill night.
You said, where do I find happiness in?
Yeah, how do you find the happiness in that as opposed to?
Well, I think being grateful to be here or chilling with Mamacita at the crib right now. You know what I'm saying? Like I would be grateful to be sitting with her, and I'm grateful to be sitting here. Because at the end of the day, I know that I drove up here in a really nice Mustang, a matte black Mustang with black rims that's cool looking. And I used to ride a bike to get around Atlanta. Like I rode a bike and then would put my bike on the bus and then put my bike on the train and be the boy sitting down on the floor next to his bike for years. So it's like, even just to have a car to drive, like there's just one thing to be grateful for. And then it's like always waking up, like just to get up and be like, yo, we got another shot at this thing. Let's make it do what it do. I think like if you could find anything, even in like the hardest moments, I think that like you can find a way to pull yourself out in some sense, if you want to, in purpose. Like you were saying, like if there is no purpose, like I know people who I feel like have, like some people that I've seen be like the most depressed and the most sad is because they have nothing going on, or they have a lot going on. So it's like for the ones that have a lot going on, it's a little more work. But for the ones that have nothing, it's like find your purpose. Like get up and find things you can control, like making your bed in the morning. You can control that. You can control if you have a bed, make your bed in the morning. You can control putting your socks on, putting your pants on. Like do things you can control every day, and then find a way to grab more things in life. You know, but
it's all about changing your mindset instead of saying like, I don't want to do that. I don't want to make my bed. I don't want to do this. I don't want to do that. Like change your fucking mindset and force yourself to say yes and say, I do want to do that. I do want.
Even if it's a drag.
Yeah.
Still
force yourself to do it. Like getting up and turning off the AC. You know, I did it from my phone. I didn't want to go check to see if it turned off. No, literally something as like little as that. But it's like forcing yourself to do shit forces you out of that headspace of negativity and like depression.
Change your environment. If you're around negativity, move. Get out of it. Literally, physically. That's something that I go to therapy. The first thing they say to do when you're depressed is to physically change yourself. I go work out when I start to get really depressed. I go move. I have to move, otherwise I'll start to get stagnant and my brain will start to stagnate. And I think that's an important takeaway for me every day is like just you saying make your bed. I make my bed every day.
Same.
And if I don't and I walk back into my room, I instantly get frustrated. And if I see my stuff is a little bit out of place, I'm like, I could have done better. And I can force myself to do a little bit better every day by making sure I hold myself accountable to those little things that I can control.
Yeah.
And then all those things that I can't control, like the auditions that we go to.
Exactly.
Then I already know I've done everything I possibly can by the end of that day.
Right.
To do my possible best.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, then it's up to them.
Yeah.
We have to wrap it up, but I wanted to ask you both really quick. Mark, what is something that you want to leave the audience with? What is something from this conversation that you want people to take away from?
I mean, I think I said a lot.
Yeah.
For the guy who said he was going to say nothing.
Yeah. I mean, my biggest takeaway is always believe in yourself and always work harder than other people and push yourself out of your comfort zone to do things and understand other people. Be more open-minded. I think say yes to a lot more opportunities and believe in yourself. And if you're not happy with where you're at in life, actively say, I want to change, and then start that change.
Yeah.
You know, I think being productive, like I'll always say this, and I've said this so many times when I'm at the gym, I don't listen to music. I listen to motivational videos because that's what I need. I need a voice.
Me too.
I need a voice to tell me you got this.
Yeah.
And it fucking helps me. Find something that helps you to change your mindset of why you wake up every day. And then you'll start to enjoy your life. And then people will start to want to hang out with you because they'll see how your energy rubs off.
That's true.
Patrick, our guest of honor.
Yes. Question once again.
Wait.
I was listening to everything he just said. What was the question?
The question is, what do you want to leave people with at the end of this podcast? Some final thought, a final note on anything we've said, or just something you want to add to it?
A final note would be make room for like if there's no room for a blessing or for whatever you need, you got to make room for it. So if there's toxic people in your life, you have to get them out to then bring in room for the good people. If there's too much happening, like find things even in your own brain that it's like, hey, like the negativity, like I have to make room for positivity. So make room for the stuff that's about to come. Like for you, I would say make room like to do this movie and then be ready for like the bigger things.
Yeah.
So you got to start moving stuff around because so much new stuff about to start coming in.
Yeah.
If the old stuff is there, then you can't get no new stuff inside.
Yeah.
So like my note would be to everybody, like make room and then, pardon me, my nigga, do not stop ever because you're never going to win if you stop.
Yeah. Yep.
I mean,
Big facts.
Yeah, he said everything.
What about you, Pearson?
Yeah.
No, I honestly concur with both of you guys. There's so much opportunity, and we do have to make room, and we do have to take it, and we do have to find it inside of ourselves every day to surround ourselves with positive people. As much as we can have all the negative people saying you can't, you won't, and you'll never do this. You have to surround yourselves with those motivational speakers. Just put in the headphones and ignore the rest of it. If any of us ever gave enough breath to all the haters online that told us we couldn't, enough breath to the people in our lives, our immediate family and friends that said we couldn't do it, we would suffocate and die. And this is it's moments like these that define winners and losers. And there are, in this life, there are winners and losers, and we have to be strong enough to champion each other and to champion the people that we believe in to make sure that they succeed and give them the opportunities and show them where we fucked up that they don't have to anymore.
Right.
And I think that's what I want to do for people. That's why I want to do a podcast. Is I want to use myself as a learning curve for people so they don't have to make my mistakes.
Dope.
So they don't have to see or do what I had to do in order to make it. They can just skip that whole process, even though it's kind of a dope process.
Dope. Yeah.
But Pat, thank you so much for being on. Mark, thank you so much for being a guest host.
Yeah.
Thank you guys. I appreciate it.
Seriously.
It was a good conversation.
It was.
This is great.
Yeah.
I really appreciate this. You guys go follow Patrick on Instagram. What's your
ThePatrickWalker.
The Patrick Walker.
The Patrick Walker.
Is it on all platforms? YouTube, everything?
Just on Instagram.
Just on Instagram. You guys like the video, comment below some of your favorite moments from this conversation. Subscribe, hit that bell for notifications. Bing. And we'll see you guys on the next one.